What I got here is the SD9VE, and I'm gonna do a trigger job on here. Gonna give it the Apex Enhanced kit that comes with the lighter springs. By now you probably are watching this because you're interested in doing this yourself. Maybe you just like the look of the thumbnail, who knows. But yeah, I'm just here in my garage doing this trigger job here. We're gonna have some fun. So as you may see, I did put a comp on here. So this is going to be quite interesting because, by the way, yes, we're clear. We are clear. So I'm going to be breaking this down real quick. Take the magazine out. And I'm going to do my best here to get everything in shot so you can see it. Maybe this will help you, but it's not intended to be a tutorial. So the tools I'm starting out with is a 1/16 and a 3/32 and I think a 1/8 is required. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. Something like this would help, you know, a pick or a flathead. You'll see why here. And a roll pin hammer. I think that side's nylon. Now, as you've noticed, I do have a comp on here. I am not removing this barrel. I'm simply going to slide it out of the way for this. Oh, another thing is, I do have a bench block, but for the purposes of this video, I want to see if I can do this without the bench block. So for those of you that don't want to bother buying the bench block, but you have something like this, like a roll of tape, I think this will work. I think it'll do the job. But we'll find out here. Let's go ahead and take out the striker assembly here. So to do this, either a flathead, small enough flathead, or some kind of pick instrument. If you look closely on your firearm, you'll see a little shaft right there. It's like a little retainer for the spring. All we're doing is relieving the pressure off the spring enough to slide that out. It is that simple. And then just go ahead and put your thumb over that and let it slide right out. And this is under tension, so just be careful when you do this next step. But what I'm going to do is leverage that onto here and push the spring down to get this little plastic retainer off of here, like a little sheath. So I'm going to do my best to demonstrate that. There we go. Don't lose these. You need these again, trust me. And there we go. We got that off. That is also under tension, so just be careful. You have on the left the stock striker pin spring, and on the right you have the new one. And it's a lot easier to compress. Yep, I don't even want to. If I really try on this one, it's gonna go flying. So let's not do that. So we're gonna just basically in reverse. We're gonna keep this in that sheath right there. We're gonna slide this bad boy on there. We're gonna use a surface like this. You know, so if you have your bench block, go ahead and use that. And we're gonna take these retainers, that's what I'm gonna call them, and we're gonna very carefully line them up. Before we let it go, I'm going to check my work here, and already I'm messing it up. They're definitely not correctly on there. And there you have it. A lot easier to move than the stock spring. Next up is the plunger. We're going to remove that by tapping out the extractor hinge. This guy right here, this little extractor right here, this guy that runs across here. We're going to be removing that by hitting that with our 1/16 roll pin punch. Try not to punch it all the way through, just about halfway. Alright, there should be good. You should already start to see your extractor coming up. It's starting to lip out like that. You see that right there? That's what you want. Take your thumb, put it over your plunge. Oh, look at that. Wow, as I was taking this out, it came out. I still had the spring right here for the extractor. So right there's the plunger. After you get the extractor, you can see how it actually holds on to that. There's like a little hole right there on the extractor that lines up with this hinge. And that's how it works. So now that we got the plunger available to come out, we're going to carefully take it out. It's getting caught up on something there. There it goes. It's gunked up, so we're going to clean that up real quick. Now that's the stock spring. We're going to remove that. Just like that. Put the new one in. Yeah, look at that. That's a lot lighter. Now this is the tricky part. It's getting that in there correctly without losing it. So this is what I'm going to do. There we go. Very good. We're going to take it from here first. Okay, like that. Then we're going to compress this as we knock this back in. You might have to depress that as well. So depress the plunger, press down on this, keep pressure on there, and just with the nylon side of your hammer, you don't mar it, get it nice and down and snug, just a little bit on there, and then you can follow through with, I would say, your 332, because you don't want to push it all the way in, you just want it flush. And just very carefully not to mar anything. You're going to line up just right. You're going to give it a few whacks. Yep, there it is. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alright, before I forget, we're going to put the striker pin assembly back in here. This is very easy. I mean, all you gotta do is just decompress the little sleeve here like you did before. Just very carefully do that. Alright, so I got it decompressed there. Just like that. You're good. Yep. I'm just gonna get a good feel for it with just those options. Wow, okay. I mean, it doesn't get rid of the creep and mush that it has, but it feels a little bit lighter already. Alright, so we're gonna remove the trigger itself. And to do that, I recommend that you punch on the right side of the frame. Because of the way the roll pin is set up, the right side has the smooth side, so it's a lot easier to punch it through. So I'm going to use a 332s and just give it a good whack. It came right out. That's what it looks like. You see what I was talking about? Yeah, it's got the notches on the left side, smooth side on the right. Put that down. Yep, there we go. Boom. Now you can remove your slide lock assembly. Comes right out. Just a quick note, that roll pin that we knocked out is what goes through here on the slide lock assembly. So we're going to remove the trigger assembly now. As you can see that, we're going to just pull it right out. Making note of how it was originally, obviously, the way it was set up in there. Pay special attention to how this is put together. The one side of the spring here, of your trigger return spring, is looped. It's not a full circle. So you're just gonna push down, pull it out like that. Alright, so this I'm actually going to use a punch, actual bench block for, to punch out the trigger, because it's just too small of an item to use. This guy right over here. So So I mean, if you're not upgrading the trigger itself and you're just doing the spring kit, good. You should be fine. There we go. Just like that, it should come right out. And then we're going to take this one here, put it on, line up the hole, and knock that in. Alright, so I lined him up like that. Alright, so once that guy's lined up within that punching hole, you'll set him down very carefully. Make sure he's all the way in there, retained. Very good, and just check the functionality. Very cool. Okay, so at this point, we'll take the new spring, facing forward. So like this. You're gonna loop it like so, and then push it forward. Now here's the interesting part, is trying to leave it like this when you go to assemble it. Honestly, I think the shortness of the gap here, like compared to the old trigger for that spring, makes this trigger job a lot easier. Alright, so there she is with the slide lock assembly right in there. Give me a second. Backwards, so wiggle it in. Making sure to drop it in between the grooves there. There we go. So you saw that, just a minor touch from my thumb, pushing in which direction is best to get those sandwiched in. And then I just made my final adjustment there. Okay. It's gonna allow me to assist with grabbing that spring. But I'm using my pick. And I'm essentially just, boom. I'm gonna give this like a little bit of a love tap without the hammer, just push it, some pressure, and it's in there. And there we have it. Wow, that's a huge difference in feel. Wow. All right, let's do the fire control system here. This here spring. That's what we're gonna do right now. All right, that just about clears it almost. All right, so take the roll pin out with the back here, that down, remove it. All right, so here's the sear spring with the sear block. Now before you end up doing this, it's very important that you make note of how this thing works. But just for easy visual reference, you see this metal tab here? Well, it should face in the same direction as this little elbow on the spring. And when you insert it, the non-elbowed part is going to go up against the inner metal tab right there. Okay? Not on the outside like that, but on the inside like that. So there should be tension here, okay? It's gonna leverage like this. Okay? So that's how it should go, okay? The way I'm gonna do this is very carefully use gravity like that. So doesn't fall, you know. And just very, very carefully shove that guy in there, like that. Now, of course, it's going to move. Take an instrument, like a roll pin. You're gonna kind of force it to go all the way in here. Boom. You should hear almost like a click if you end up in the position I was in. So now we're just gonna put the roll pin in here. Now again, if you're skipping through my video, you're not paying attention, just a little disclaimer. I read on forums that people don't normally recommend doing this, replacing the sear spring. They say they keep it stock. For whatever reason, there's a good amount of people who have issues with the sear spring, with getting the weapon to reset successfully. I'm not sure if maybe it might be people not doing it correctly. Maybe it's just the tension of the new spring is not enough to work, which is what I thought was the whole idea behind replacing all the springs, was so that one's not, you know, specced out too heavy for the other springs to function. Here's how the sear works. As I come out, it gets reset on the sear bar. So if this was cocked, this would, as I pull back, push down on this, and then boom, bang, goes the gun, because it released the striker pin. As you reset, it goes up and under over the sear. So trigger bar, that's how it operates. That's how it should work. And test with the slide. Perfect. Now, as you always should, hold on to all your springs, because this thing might have issues. When you go to live fire, you might dry fire like how I am right now. Everything seems fine. But hey, when you go to shoot, you might find out that there's actually an issue here and there. And keep in mind, when you do go live fire, keep in mind that this is a whole new trigger. It might be a human error. Like if you have trouble with resets, you may be not going out all the way. You might be rapid firing, not paying attention to the reset. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. But wow, this is something else, man. Look at that. Oh wow. Get some magazine out. Yeah, there you have it, folks. She's done. Look at that black darker. What do you guys think about that? Sure matches the holster I got for it. Yeah, so thanks for joining me on this video.
Subscribe.